Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Excited for today's guest. She is an online business manager and productivity coach with My Virtual Partnr. And what she does is she helps clients build the entire back-end operation systems and automation and optimize their time. Very excited to be rocking out today with Barbara Ramirez. Barbara, are you ready to rock?
Yes, thank you.
Did I get your name okay this time?
Yes, it's perfect.
Trying. Anyways, so we always start off on a good note here. So tell me a story of success in your business that we can be inspired by.
Okay, story of success. I can say that I'm so happy where I am right now today after 8 years, like an entire roller coaster, working from home remotely, doing things that I like, that I don't like, and now I feel that I'm in a good place, that I can say that I'm successful with my business. I say that everyone has a different definition of success. So it's not just about money, it's how you feel. For me, that's success, how you feel where you are right now with everything that you have. So I can say that for me right now, because I'm back home, I've been, I could say I was an expat for the past 5 years. And it was because decisions of life, I wasn't happy those 5 years. Now I'm happy. Now I feel successful because I get to keep working with my clients, less clients than before, but better ones, and clients that I have long-term relationships. And I do enjoy working with them. I have more time for me, like to spend with my husband, with my dog, and to do things that we like. So I will say that will be my story for today. And I wish I could say that to the Barbara 8 years ago, like, don't worry, everything is going to be okay. You're going to be in a good place sometime. So everything that happens is just, we call it failures. We can also call them learnings, okay? It's just things that needs to happen because it's going to lead you to value more the things that you will have in the future. So yeah, I will say that's my success right now. The place that I'm at right now, I'm really happy and I'm so grateful for all of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And I'm glad that you mentioned that definition of success as well, because you're right. I think a lot of people sort of think, the goal of life is just to make as much money as possible, I guess, but I don't know if that really leads to good lifestyle, right? I mean, oftentimes you're working too much. So, what I love about working from home and creating your own business is that you get to design your life that makes you happy. And that can be whatever you want it to be. And it sounds like you've found a real groove, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned some failures. We won't call them failures, we'll call them learning experiences, but I call them bad notes. So I'm wondering, can you share with us something that didn't go as planned and maybe how we can, recover from it or avoid it if we see it coming towards us?
Yeah, so a bad note for me, I really like that word. So it could be at a point of my business where we were having kind of coaching or advising for someone else because we see them as really successful at that moment. And then we try to learn from them and replicate what is good for them. So we apply it to ourselves. But then we see it's all just about making money. Like, yeah, so the only thing that you can have the success that I have is if you make more money and if you raise your prices. It didn't feel so good for me at that moment because I felt that I was charging my clients like the proper amount for the services that I was providing. I've never been the kind of person that is going to overprice my clients just to say that I make 10K a month just because everyone does 10K a month. And at that moment, I was having like this pressure. Yes, but you have to do it. You hire me to be your coach, to do all of this. And I end up losing all of that. I end up quitting the coach, quitting all of that because it didn't feel so good. Obviously, it affected like my business. I lost a few clients because of that. I will say before deciding on going to have someone coach you or mentor you or guide you to something, you need to do an inner work first, and you need to visualize. And sometimes people use this word wrongly. It's actually how you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, doing what you're doing right now, and what would you need right now to start doing in order to be where you want to be. This is something that I from all that coaching that I took one from when I was working remotely for full time for a company. They got me into a coaching for the company and to be better leaders, and we did something from strategic coach that is from Canada. And they had this question that it really, I apply it now for everything. If we were going to meet in X amount of time from now, what would need to happen all that time for you to feel great where you are right now? So that's what I'm applying right now. I understand it now. I wish I understand it 6 years ago, 7 years ago, but that's what I do. And whenever, even when someone comes to me like, I want your guidance, I'm like, no, do this work first. And then when you figure out the things that you actually need, and if I'm the person for that, I'm happy to work with you. But if not, then you need to figure it out first yourself. I'm not going to be the person that is going to tell you what to do, because otherwise you're going to be frustrated if it doesn't go in the way that you would like it to be. So that was my bad notes at that point.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so I definitely understand what you're talking about with, making sure that you know exactly what you're looking for in a coach before you go get the coach. And I bet you there's a lot of people that fall into that same trap that you were talking about going to find a coach and then the coach trying to pressure you into just making more money. And, maybe that's the path for some people, but on the other hand, as you mentioned in the very beginning, part of your reason why you feel you're successful is because of the lifestyle and how you feel about your business. And so if you feel like you're providing adequate value for the money that you're receiving, then that's going to make you feel good. However, if you feel like you're ripping your clients off, that's not going to make you feel good, right?
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. And your clients are going to notice that. Your clients are going to notice when you are overcharging them, because when they go to you, they've also talked with other people.
Yeah.
And the work is actually really small. I have had clients, I have a partnership with another company that does exactly what we do, and they hire us to do white label of our services for their clients because they just need more people. So they hire us to do that. And yes, we have like an entire non-compete and all of that. And it's been great. We've been almost a year working together. And there was this time that there was a company that reached out to us for our services. And they mentioned about this other company that they already talked with them. I'm like, okay, no, you have to talk. You already went through them. You have to, because I cannot work with you directly.
Yeah.
I have a partnership with them. So if it was someone else, they will go to the client, they will charge them like exactly what they did. It didn't feel so good to me, like doing that. And I heard people like, why? But you could have charged to them and do like the exact work. I'm like, no, it doesn't feel so good.
Yeah.
I rather keep it in the way that it is, because things come back to you eventually when you work in that like in that way. And that works the same when you're overcharging your clients. That comes back to you in a way.
Yeah, well, I have a question about that. So, okay, what I've noticed is that many entrepreneurs, especially when they're starting, are actually undercharging their clients for the services that they're providing. And so I think that's probably why a lot of coaches, when you go talk to them, the first thing they try to do is get you to increase your price, because chances are you're undercharging. But how did you decide? How did you know that you were charging appropriately and that you weren't just undercharging for what you provide?
Okay, so that's interesting. It's one of my bad notes from my entire 8 years working from home, because at some point I did realize I was undercharging just by the fact that I'm from Latin America. Most of clients in the US assume that we can charge less, and actually the cost of living here is very similar to the American cost of living. I don't know why people think that is less expensive than in the US. So what I did, and this is something I learned in business school, one of the few things learnings from business school that I can apply to real life, how to actually like give a number to your time, to your hour work with your clients. So it's a lot of factors: the kind of work that you're going to do, like try to put a value to the knowledge that you're bringing, if you need to spend more time doing research. So it's a lot of calculations you need to do, but it gives you like a standard of how you can value your hour in general, taking all those aspects in consideration. And then you will estimate, okay, this work that this client is asking, it will take us 40 hours to complete it, or it will take us 6 months and in a total 100 hours or 200 hours. And then from there, you will tell to your client how you're going to charge them. When I do that, I give them all of that, like the entire timeline, everything is going to take with the milestones, and like a really detail for the entire work with all the milestones, how they're going to cost to the client. Okay, so that's how I've been doing it. It really works, because I know how much time I'm going to dedicate. And I also take in consideration, for example, I had to raise my prices when I hire someone to work with me. So I have to take that in consideration, because I'm going to pay this person from the client from the work we're going to do with the client. So those are things you need to consider, like all the factor, all the resources you are going to use for the work with your clients. That's like the best way to estimate a fair price to your clients.
Love it. Love it. Right on. Okay. So now let's talk about keeping more money coming in that's what's going out. So, there are expenses in business. So how do you approach the cash flow situation?
Okay. So first thing that I do, and especially when it comes to all the tools that we use working from home, because we have Zoom, we have Gmail, we have all of that is usually on monthly basis. So what I do at the beginning of the year is calculate what are the tools that I'm going to need, that I know I need to pay every month. And then I will figure out the ones that I can pay annually, because you actually save a lot of money. You save 2 to 3 months in expenses when you do them annually. But I will keep them in my, I have my cash flow and my estimations. So I will keep them in my estimations on monthly basis, because I will do this is, how would I say it in English? This is actually a term in finance when you have to estimate your total expenses for a year, regardless that you pay them at one specific month of the year. So I do all of that. So for everything that comes in, I already have like a saving for when I need to pay that. I will know that I have the money for that. Okay, that goes for the payment for the virtual assistant, for the services that I need to pay, for all of that. So the other part, I need to also make sure that I have consistent money every month from my clients. So that one is interesting, because we always want to charge everything like right now, but then that will give you like the sensation you have a lot of money when you don't. You have to know how to organize that in your cash flow. So that's why I use the milestone system with my clients, especially when it's something that is going to take me more than 2 months. I will say, okay, our work is going to be an entire timeline of 6 months. So we're going to break it into milestones. I'm going to charge you these milestones first. One is closed and is delivered, then the other one. In that way, you receive consistent money every month. Okay? And that is also good because sometimes when you have long-term relationship with your clients, more things will come up. Your client will start seeing all the work that you're delivering, and they will say, oh, I just figured out, I think you can help me with this, or I think you can help me with that. So you can gather all of that and then create a package to your client that will give them like, okay, they're going to receive a solution at a good price and they will charge you for that. That has happened a lot with my clients. I have it now. In the past, I was being undercharged for all of that, like doing a lot and like getting like the lowest payment ever. Now I do it differently. That's why we first focus on setting up all the systems, everything in the backend. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks to do everything that we do. And then they realize that we can also do like the work they realize they need to hire a VA, for example. So we can provide that after we set up all the systems, and that keeps being a consistent income from our clients. Okay, so that's how we have learned to do it now from all this experience.
Wow. Okay. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. So for
Yeah.
the expenses, you're saying that try to figure out what expenses can be paid yearly instead of monthly, but also make sure that you're putting money away every month, sort of like pay it monthly to your own account so that account gets used for that expense, right? And then the other thing for income coming in, if you've got a long project, instead of just getting paid at the end or whatever, then set up milestones. And I really like that because I find that when you set up milestones, in order to even do that, you have to have a good roadmap of what you're providing in order to even set up those milestones, right? And I find that helps with what you mentioned earlier, like I call it feature creep or scope creep, where you've started working on something and then all of a sudden there's 10 other things that they throw on your plate and you're like, no, that's not in this.
Exactly.
This is all extra stuff, right? Because otherwise, you're right. I mean, you can, if you don't have a really good plan on what you're going to be providing to your clients, they can start to take advantage of that. And I think it's like one of those things where we're scared to set up that plan because we're maybe not confident that I don't even know that what we're providing, or maybe we don't know how long it's going to take. But then it ends up not being in our favor when we do it that way. It always ends up being something that we lose money on if you don't set that up right, right?
Yes. Yeah. I have really good friends that work in design, in web development, and they've been in that place where they're like, yeah, but this client is now asking me all these things, and they were at the beginning, and then I just teach them a really quick way to see it with a project management tool, whatever tool you want to use, and keep it like separate. Okay, this is what we agree. This is what I'm doing. Everything else that you're asking me, we're going to list it here, and we can discuss it at the end of the project to create a plan for that. So
that's my business, is building websites. So I definitely. And it seems like when you're in one field, like people will kind of assume that you do everything else too. And it's like, I can do some of those other things, but that's going to be a totally different project. Like, well, let's do this one first and then we'll move on. So let's talk a little bit about your jam room, about your home office. So what have you got set up? Like, where do you get your work done?
Okay, so as I told you, I've been an expat for the past 5 years. We just came back 6 months ago, reorganizing our house, and it's a very small apartment. And me and my husband, we both work from home. So imagine we need to have each. Right now, I'm in his office because this is a holiday week. So I told him, okay, I'm going to use your office that I like it more. He has a home desk. We are going to paint it and put some frames so that it looks very, very nice. Some frames that family gave to us. I have to get rid of, you don't see right now in the back, I have our gym. So this is an office / gym. I have to get rid of that from here, and I figure out where to put it in the apartment. So it's kind of that you feel you are in an office, and it goes also when we're going to work, like dressed up, try to give it like an entire team to your office, that you're going to the office and you're not working from home. And more importantly, like having rules. We have like this like a whiteboard when we write things down. For example, right now I have written, I'm in an interview, please don't bother me. So whenever he goes around, he knows that I'm in an interview. Okay. So that's really, really important. We've been doing it since I started working from home first, then he joined me. And when he started working from home too, we said that we need to have a communication system. He works differently to how I work. For me, everything is in my calendar, and I don't have to have so many notebooks and all of that because I tend to lose them. But here is different, so I have to write things out. So I'm like, I'm in an interview, don't bother me, don't make noises, don't put some music, anything. So that has to be anywhere where we work, we have to have a whiteboard. And lastly, well, I got a rocket book. I think it's called that way. It's the one that you can write and then erase and write again. I've been having it for 2 years because I tend to lose papers. When I see a paper around, I will throw it to the trash. So I tend to lose them. So that's the best way for me not to lose anything. I will take a picture for whatever is important and send it to my email, and I know it will be there. So that's basically, it's very, very minimalistic, very, very simple. I try to keep it in that way.
Yeah, I like talking about this topic because it's something that is so important, but a lot of people don't put that much time into considering how complicated it might be to be productive in your own home. So all the distractions are there. I mean, everything's there. And also when you're at home, especially when you have family, oftentimes it's their home too. So like you said, it's, I'm just going to blast some music, but they don't realize that there's someone actually working in the house, right? So I like your system of having like a whiteboard where you just, write what's going on so that people can know that, now's the time to be quiet, right? For this hour or whatever it is. That's good.
Yeah.
So now what about, you mentioned earlier that you had gotten to a point where you're hiring. So let's talk a little bit about your band and about the people that you have in your business that help you get things done. So how do you approach, finding people? What kind of people do you have right now that are working with you? And do you have any advice for us?
Okay, so finding for people is actually very easy. You can use tools like websites like Upwork, Fiverr. There's one here in Latin America that is called Workana. They're all very similar. You can find freelancers for everything. Finding really good people, it will depend on the kind of service that you're providing and what you're going to deliver to your clients. You want to make sure, this is a learning that I can share also here. You want to make sure that you save also your energy, and this doesn't cost you to spend so much time onboarding the person. So we apply what we say. We help our clients set up their entire systems. We have it for ourselves too. So I'm the kind of person that is not going to onboard someone to tell them how to do something that it can be searchable on Google. You have to be able to figure it out by yourself. I will onboard any team member that will come to us on how we work. What is it that we deliver to the clients? How do I expect for you to deliver things to me so that I can then pass it on to the clients and then have the meeting with them? All of that. know how you're going to create something or how you're going to create a document or a task or what. You have to figure that out by yourself. So that's actually the tricky part, that you also know how is your process. And that is going to help you find the right people for that and know what kind of questions you are going to ask to this person. Because let's talk about virtual assistants. That is one of the roles that I have right now. We have two part-time. They work like 3 hours a day or 2 hours, depending on the amount of work that we have, virtual assistants. And you can search on Upwork virtual assistants, and you're going to look 1,000 people there. Okay, but what are they going to do? They're going to work with email marketing. They're going to work with social media. They're going to work with automation. They're going to work with Dubsado. Okay, and now what is it that I need to ask them? Like, besides of your experience and all of that, what I'm going to deliver that is going to give me the questions I'm going to ask to them and that I expect from them to answer. And that is going to let me to know who I'm going to hire. So that will be like the main learning that I always pass on even to my clients when they realize they need to hire more people. We will do this work. We will do the entire work of, okay, this is the person you need to find. So try to visualize it. Okay, the person you need to have in your team is going to be able to do all this tasks. Is going to deliver all this for you. So that's the person that you need to find in any of these websites. Okay.
Nice.
So yeah.
So you're more focused on the outcomes of what they are going to be delivering to you rather than how they do it.
Exactly.
Cool.
And actually, when I say that I have them, for example, you asked me about my business and my band, my team. So we don't work, even though I estimate the work for my clients on hour, we don't work on hour because sometimes they can do things faster than I can. And it's not fair because instead of being 1 hour, I'm going to pay you because you learn how to do something in 15 minutes. And that's great for you. So I actually pay them like, okay, I'm going to have you and this is a monthly payment that I'm going to do for you. And for them, it's better because if they spend 15 minutes doing it, that's okay. I don't mind. If you spend 2 hours doing that, well, that's on your own. But I usually have really good people that are really like fast on doing all of that, and they feel happy because they will have more time to do other things. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that for everything. Like I try to not pay by the hour or charge by the hour. And that's the exact reason, because if you charge per package, then you are encouraging your team to get better at what they do and faster at what they do. And then they get the benefit from that, because the faster they can deliver the service, the more margin they have. Otherwise, they're more or less, they are encouraged to take their time, really, if you're paying by the hour, because as they get better, they're just going to stretch that out, because otherwise they're making less money now, right?
Exactly.
Right on. Okay, so it's time for your solo. Tell me what's exciting in your business right now.
Everything. So yeah, I don't know. I feel so great with the clients I'm working right now, and like the overall industry that I can work with. At the beginning I thought that because I'm working remotely, I can only work with online businesses. And I'm working right now with an accounting firm that they don't have online presence. They have like an actual office and everyone works there, but they're trying to incorporate online tools. And somehow they reach to me and I help in this company that doesn't have any kind of online presence. And I don't know what I don't know. I assume that only online businesses were trying to figure out their systems and all of that. So it's been actually very, very beautiful. And that's, I mean, it's so exciting because you get to see how, like, you can actually make an impact to someone and to how they work and how they feel better. So it's been really, really nice. I didn't figure out how much impact you can do with your works.
So what would be the ideal client or the person that would get the most out of your services? Who would that be?
Okay, so it has to be someone that is willing to get better in general, not just for them, but for their entire team. Because when the owner reached to me and it's all about them, and I want to have more time and I have to want to have more for me and only for them, they're going to give their team away and they're not going to care if their team is happy or not. And that is not going to solve their problem. They have bigger problems if they don't focus on the team. They have to focus on their team first. So my ideal client is when they come to me and they will say, okay, I have this team that is like, they're working 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. That has happened. Unbelievable. So, and they are so tired, they don't get enough rest. How can I help them? I don't know what tools they will need. I don't know their entire process, because sometimes the owner don't know the entire process. So that's my ideal client that worries about the entire business and not just them as the owners and making more money and everything for them. Okay, that's the people that I actually really enjoy working, because you get to know everyone and you get to help not just the business, but even that's why I incorporate being a productivity coach, because I've been after working with my clients, like a specific person, help them organize like their entire life, because I've realized that they have someone that they're just overwhelmed because they have so much on their house, they have so many things to handle and they don't have the energy. So I try to help them optimize that. So
awesome. So how can we find out more about this?
okay, so right now my website is being upgraded, because everything we did it by ourselves. To realize a wording that I have, I'm not a copywriter and I did everything by myself, so I hired a copywriter to help us with that. But it's going to be soon, at the end of this week, is myvirtualpartner.com. That's like the best place. You can find everything that we do, all the resources. I have like so many videos that are really good. Like if you want to know where to start, you can search them for them. They're going to be in a learn section. Okay, like for everything. If you want to know how to organize your day, something like, we assume everyone will know how to do it, and not everyone will know how to do it. It's hard. It's actually hard. It goes beyond like having a pretty Google Calendar with everything booked. It goes beyond that. So how to organize all of that, how to communicate with your family members. I'm really focused on working from home, because it's what I have right now, is everything that I've learned. And right now, like after 2020, most of people work from home or hybrid. So we have to incorporate that. How to, even when I don't have kids, but I have learned from clients that have kids, how to create a system for that, to incorporate your kids into your new lifestyle, working from home, that they know that mom and dad are working. They're not because they're home, you can play with them all the time.
Yep.
And how you can also have time for them, because that's really important. So, yeah.
Love it. Right on. Okay. So thank you so much for rocking out with me today. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the listeners, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment, and we'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast.